everyone, in today's video we're talking more about the severe weather outbreak that's going to hit parts of the South, Plains, and Midwest. But before we can get into this video, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel if you do like daily weather forecasts, and make sure to share this video with any friends or family. But anyways, let's get right into this video. So right now we are looking at my kind of severe weather outlook I've made. This is very similar to the Storm Prediction Center's, but not exactly. The Storm Prediction Center has actually issued a moderate risk for severe weather for parts of Oklahoma and Texas. I've actually extended it into parts of the western part of Arkansas, and even reaching into parts of southwestern Missouri and southeastern Kansas there. So you do have that moderate risk, level 4 out of 5 in place for that type of area. We're going to go ahead and look at the actual Storm Prediction Center forecast here in a minute, but there's actually also enhanced risk for severe weather around that moderate risk in that type of orange highlighted area. That's where you're expecting also the significant severe weather. In the yellow risk, you have a more lower risk of severe weather. We still do have that risk for all those hazards of severe weather today. Also in the marginal risk of severe weather, which is in the green color, that's where you're expecting isolated severe storms, but not really any super severe storms are expected in that green highlighted area. But if let's go ahead and look at the actual Storm Prediction Center forecast for today. Alright, so here's the actual Storm Prediction Center forecast here. Also, like I said, there's a moderate risk of severe weather in that red highlighted area. Also that enhanced risk, which is pretty similar to my forecast in that orange highlighted area, and the slight risk of severe weather following with the marginal risk of severe weather, which is in the green there. Also there's a general thunderstorm risk area, which is in the light green. That's where you're expecting general thunderstorms, but not really any severe storm development in that light green area. You're going to look at the tornado risk today, which is pretty decently high. It's not the highest I've seen, but it's definitely a 10% risk of tornadoes within that yellow shaded area. Very small, not really widespread or anything, but definitely if you're in that area, you're going to have to watch out for the tornadoes. They're not expected to be strong or anything, probably short-lived, and some very weak tornadoes, but still, just because there's only a 10% risk of tornadoes doesn't mean there are going to be a couple of strong tornadoes possible. And within the 5% risk area, which is in the brown, you also have that risk for tornadoes. And a 2% risk, you have a very low risk of tornadoes, but still, those tornadoes could possibly happen in that green 2% risk area. Hail risk is very high. There's kind of a cap on the storm, so that's why there's not really much of a tornado risk. But the hail risk is very high, especially in this purple shaded area. That's a 45% risk of this hail, and this moderate risk mainly got issued because of the wind and hail risk in this area. Also, the significant risk up to 80 miles per hour of wind gusts within these storms. Very damaging. That's like an EF0 tornado winds. So bring anything outside that could blow away. Even tie down if you have a trampoline or anything like that. Make sure anchor that down. This could definitely blow anything away in its path that's loose and outside. And in the yellow risk, and actually the red risk, you have a 30% chance of those damaging winds. And the yellow risk, you have a 50% chance. In the green risk, you have a 5% risk of those damaging winds. Hail. Here's the actual wind risk here. Very widespread. 45% risk as well. And that purple risk, which is a 45% risk. A significant risk, which is in the hatch risk, which is also very high. Like I said, it's 80% risk. I should have said in the hail risk. You have up to softball sized hail within that 45 and significant risk within that area. Also in this red area, You also have that significant wind risk, mostly in that red, purple, and significant risk area. Also in the yellow risk, you do have that risk for significant winds, but still also kind of lower. Also on the 2%, I mean 5% risk of those damaging winds within that green area there. You can go ahead and look at tomorrow's risk, which is pretty low, but the leftover storms will definitely impact parts of the southeast within that yellow shaded area, which is a slight risk of severe weather, and the marginal risk is severe weather, which is in the dark green. Tornado risk is very low as well. You can see only a 2% risk of tornadoes there. Also for the hail risk, you can go ahead and look at this. The hail risk is also very low, only 5% risk of hail. And the damaging winds are decently high, 15% chance of damaging winds and 5% risk of damaging winds within those two shaded areas there. We can go ahead and look at simulated radar for this severe weather outbreak. So now we're looking at the simulated future radar. This is pretty much showing you how these storms are going to develop and where they are going to develop. You can go ahead and look at the about 2 p.m. time frame of today. You're really starting to see these storms start to blow up across southeastern Kansas, even going into Oklahoma. There, this line is starting to form there. And then you're getting into 3 p.m., 4 p.m. hours. Really starting to see this line really start to develop over here in parts of Missouri and Oklahoma. And then that line, both of those lines really start to form together there about the mid-afternoon hours, stretching from Illinois all the way down to Oklahoma, maybe even parts of reaching into Texas. And you see that line kind of very weakens over here in parts of Illinois, but this line just keeps on going, getting into Texas over here. Dallas Fort Worth is gonna get definitely gonna get hit pretty hard with this line of storms. Very damaging winds. You can see kind of like a derecho shape. Possibly we could have a derecho with this one. With this kind of system, you're still seeing those very strong line of storms keep on going into Texas and Louisiana, and then that kind of goes into the Gulf of Mexico there, and you see the second line of storms developing over here in parts of the kind of the afternoon hours of Wednesday. Still seeing that line of storms just keep on going, and really starts to dissipate once it gets into the Atlantic Ocean of kind of the late evening hours of Thursday. If you did enjoy this video, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel if you do like daily weather forecasts, and make sure to share this video with any friends or family that might be in the path of this severe weather outbreak. But anyways, stay safe.